line was. So I can feel that and maintain that swing and pivot around that position. Even playing a shot off my knees there, I'll put that down the practice range here, probably 150 yards. And the reason why is I've just kept the plane consistent. So that looks quite severe what we've done, but what I've done is by getting down to that level, maintaining those theories, I can come back and get a solid strike on the ball. Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to talk a little bit about today is the plane of your swing. Put a video out there a few weeks ago and everybody seemed to like the idea of this, and we're just going to take it a little bit of a step further to understand that the plane of the swing should remain consistent throughout all your clubs. So you're not feeling that you're making a different swing all the time. And what we're also going to show you, again, we keep coming back to this word consistent or consistency, is make sure that if you guys go to the practice ground and you video yourself, you're setting the camera up correctly so you get good information. What I tend to find is a lot of people go down there, they'll put their phone behind their bay in a general area, and if you're not putting it in the same place every time, you're going to be seeing different results each time, even if you're making the same swing. So really important we get that camera in the right place so you can get good feedback, so you know you're making the right swing or maybe the wrong swing, and you can make the changes that you need to make. So let's talk about that first. So what we've got set up here on the ground, we've got our white line, which is our target line. That's where we're going to hit the golf ball from. And we've put here on the ground a red line. And this is actually illustrating much more if I sort of hold a club where my hands are. So my hands are directly over the top of that red plank of wood, showing where my hands are at address. And that's actually the line you want to put your camera on. Okay, so we'll explain why we want to do that. And if you think about it logically, when you're playing a shot, we're very aware of what the club is doing and the shaft of the club is doing as we swing the club. So when we're setting up to the shot, why the camera goes through your hands is because at the start of the swing, the club head is ahead of you. When we reach waist high, which we're going to check in a little while now, the shaft is much more level with you. And as you continue up, where does the club head go? It goes behind you. So you're actually seeing half of your swing in front of that line of the camera and half of it behind. So that's going to give you a much more balanced look at your swing. Don't put the line straight down, physically down the line of your target line, because you're going to have all your swing behind that line. So what we're going to show you some key positions to get into. Get the camera right, makes it easier. So first thing, look at that. Best way to do it, put a club down and make sure that's sort of running where you want a club or anything down on the ground to help you. But we're going to show you another way. So you just take two golf clubs, place one club on the ground and the second one approximately about a foot apart from it. And what you'll hopefully see on the video there, I've let them just sit naturally on the ground, is that the two shafts, they're very similar. I've got an 8 and a 9 iron here. When you look at it on the camera, it looks pretty much like there's only one shaft there that you can see. Okay, so if I set the camera up that way and I was aiming physically that way, you can see now how there'd be two shafts, and that's going to give us an inconsistent position. Because one of the key positions we're going to look at is where are we at waist high on the way back to see if we're on plane. So very simple exercise. You've got your target line, pop your club on it. So I've got a 9 iron, there's my 8 iron. Basically put them on the ground, just let them sit as they naturally would. It looks like we've only got one shaft. If it starts to look like you've got two shafts, then you've put the camera in the wrong place. So just take an extra few seconds to get that right, because that's going to give us some good information to develop. Okay, so we're going to show you as we go on today. So I'm going to stay with my 9. I'm going to just bring in my hybrid. And here's the one consistency, the next consistency we're looking for. The first consistency is you're not going to change while you play a round of golf. And what I mean by that is you're not going to grow or you're not going to shrink during a round of golf. So if you're 6 foot tall, you're not going to be 5'6" or 6'6" as you play the round. Might sound a bit crazy what I'm saying, but this is the importance of why, when we look at this first bit, we understand how the club works and how then the swing can stay consistent and we allow the club to do the job for you. So if I'm not changing height and I put the club down on the ground, the one consistency when I aim and set up my club is the butt of the club. The butt of the club being the end of the club here should always be the same height, because I'm the same height. That should never change. I don't want to feel when I'm setting up to the ball that one club I'm trying to get up here, one club I'm trying to be down here. I want to feel I'm maintaining and creating a consistent posture. I don't want that posture to change from club to club. And what we can see then is how the shorter club, the iron here is a little bit more vertical, and the hybrid club is a little bit shallower in its position. Okay, and that's fine. We're going to show you that with the planer swing, how that will work in your swing and how we'll get consistency. So let's go back and explain the plane of the swing. We've now got the camera right. We now understand your posture stays the same. So what's important now is we get this consistent swing. So the previous video we talked about the plane of the swing and how it works. Here we're going to show you with 2 clubs how that's going to work. We're going to give you a bonus club. We're going to show you how it really works if you get it right. So go back to it. So I've got a plank of wood. That's just going to illustrate the golf club and what I'm looking for. Got my target line. My feet are nice and parallel. And what I'm going to do now, just going to make a swing to waist high. And if I reach waist high and correct, what it will look like is this plank of wood, the red plank of wood, is running parallel to our target line. That's our first checkpoint. Second checkpoint as we go up. That's why we've got the plank of wood, looks like a bit of an arrow. That should now be pointing back down towards the target line. And if you really want to work on your swing, I'm just showing you pretty much just that basic 2 positions there to there. As your swing goes up higher, this will point and pick up the target line. It will go on forever. So it picks up that line. But here's a good thing you can work on just to get the idea of this. Parallel, pointed at the line. Now, as you come down, keep pointing at the line. Can you see how this shaft or this piece of wood looks like it's maintaining its angle? That will unwind, back on line to the target line. Good. Go through to parallel and reset. Okay, so that's the basic principle we're looking for. And you can break it down into 2 parts. If I'm at waist high, the club should be parallel. That doesn't matter if it's backswing or follow through. And as I go up from that point, the butt of the club, which is highlighted by the arrow here of the piece of wood, that's now pointing back to the target line and getting us into a good position there. So that comes down, and if you want to be precise, go through, and you get that idea there. You can see the angle of the bit of wood pointing back down. So that's our principle. That's what we're looking for. So now let's take that into our 2 clubs. Okay. So I've got my 9 iron, and I'm going to do the same idea of swing. So there's the natural angle of the club there. There's my posture. Thing I'm looking for. So if I get here now, what it will look like, if I've got the camera right and I've done it correctly, it won't look like you can hardly see any shaft of my golf club. Okay, it looks like the head is in line with my hands, which covers up the shaft of the club. If you're doing that, you're bang on the right position here. That continues up to that position. Okay, let's highlight that again. A little bit with our stick here. Okay, so parallel. There's the stick pointing back down. Keep the stick pointing at the target line. Unwind through to parallel. There's the stick again. Okay, now just go back to that position we said when you can't see the shaft of the club. So if I do it incorrectly, I get in here what we call too much on the inside. Look how much of the shaft you can see. Not going to be good. Okay, from that position. That's going to promote, people think, oh, I'm going to come back to the ball more from the inside. From experience, you'll feel like you want to come back over to get back online, and that creates the inconsistency of shots. From there, what we're looking for, second option can go too steep. Okay, that can make us come down steep, or we'd reroute on a shallower plane to come into the ball. So the importance, what we're looking for, is to get that club nicely in position when we reach waist high, that we're getting that point that's nice and parallel to where we want to go. There's our angle, come back down. Now we move on to the hybrid. Doesn't change. All that's changed is I've stood further away. It's a longer club, but I still want to feel the same thing. Okay, from that position, as I swing back, there's my parallel position. Okay, second thing I'm going to look for then, set the club up, there's my angle, come back down, onto the position there, through to parallel, and there. Okay, and if we can do that, we're going to get a lot more consistency in our shots. Okay, that's important to feel that. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. I've just borrowed my daughter's golf club, and now we've got a much shorter club. Okay, so the club wants to sit that way. That's its natural position. Okay, let's take this away and see if I can hit one with this doing the right thing. Okay, so there's a ball on the tee. So that's its natural position, which obviously I'm too tall for this club. So if I create the idea that I go with the club, There's its natural position. From there, where do I want the shaft of the club to be? Okay, there I want to be parallel. There I want the angle. It's not changing. Look where that's pointing. It looks like it's pointing back at the ball. Perfect. That's where the white line was. So I can feel that and maintain that swing and pivot around that position. Even playing a shot off my knees there, I'll put that down the practice range here, probably 150 yards. And the reason why is I've just kept the plane consistent. So that looks quite severe what we've done, but what I've done is by getting down to that level, maintaining those theories, I can come back and get a solid strike on the ball. So the consistency is you want this feeling of these two positions, get to parallel, get the feeling of the angle there, and you can come back to the golf ball, consistently back to the ball. Don't feel you've got to change your swing from club to club. What you've got to do is take that idea and let it happen because you stand further away from the ball. The club is designed to do it for you. You're not going to change, so allow those ideas to work. I hope you enjoyed that tip. I hope that helps you a little bit with your camera work when you're videoing yourself and you get the idea and the principle that, as we said, we want one consistent swing. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and share with your friends.